But first, thanks to our wonderful sponsors. I don't know if you just saw the news, but average U.S. household debt just hit $152,000. That's mortgages, cars, cards, student loans. But the national debt just hit $37 trillion. It's all going up. Ask yourself this. When the system hiccups, who bails you out? It's not the Fed, not the politicians, and that's why I own gold. Gold doesn't need a CEO, doesn't need missed earnings. It doesn't freeze your account on a Friday at 4:59. While they print, gold just sits there doing what it's done for thousands of years. Store value. If you're done playing musical chairs with your savings, get something real in your hand. That's why you should try our good friends Kirk Elliott Precious Metals today. Goldwithjustin.com. Kirk and the team going to walk you through what they're doing, whether you're a seasoned pro when it comes to buying precious metals or you're just getting started. Call Kirk and the team today at 720-605-3900. That's 720-605-3900, or go to goldwithjustin.com to find out how they can help you today. No pressure, just facts and a plan. That's goldwithjustin.com. Protect what's yours with gold. Goldwithjustin.com. Do it today. When the grocery shelves go empty, you're out of time. That's the truth. Disasters hit fast. Storms, blackouts, supply chain chaos, and the first thing to vanish is food. That's why smart Americans, just like you, are stocking up now with My Patriot Supply. You can go to preparewithjustin.com right now to get a 3-month emergency food kit, and they'll even throw in a free 4-week food kit to boot. That's 4 whole months of meals ready to eat. No refrigeration needed, all with a 25-year shelf life. We're talking breakfast, lunches, dinners, over 2,000 calories a day to keep you strong when everything else shuts down. So don't wait until the crisis is here. Order today, and it ships fast and discreet. Go to preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com, because when the lights go out, the last thing you should be worrying about is feeding your family. Preparewithjustin.com. It's here, the grand reopening of the merch store, justinbarclay.com/store. We've got brand new tees, hoodies, and gear in fresh designs, colors, and sizes, even some for the kids. You're going to find favorites like the FAFO, Fool Around, Find Out shirt, the Gulf of America tees, sweats, and more. And alligator Alcatraz designs are ready to wear and ready to make a statement. And even cups. We've got mugs. We've got bags. We've got hats. All kinds of great stuff inside the store. Perfect for the rally, the weekend, or just everyday life. Shop now at justinbarclay.com. Shop now at justinbarclay.com/store. That's justinbarclay.com/store. Do it today. Yep, another large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving My Pillow with a ton of extra pillows. But you know what? Mike and the team have decided to make that lemons your lemonade. It's their
Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on Wood Radio.
Welcome in, folks. Well, big news today, again, is kind of like it's been all week long, locally anyway, right here in our own backyard. It's the weather. And man, oh man, do we have an update for you. We'll get you the latest on the extreme cold they're telling us about. And more to be expected throughout the next week as things warm up. I don't know if you can even call it that. It's a free-for-all Friday, so we'll talk to you today as well on the phone line. Plus, we finally saw arrests yesterday. Tell you more about that coming up.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now, today's Big Three.
Yeah, these are the stories we'll be talking about around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. Bundled up. The Big Three brought to you by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Whether you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit. We've seen interest rates dropping, and boy, that's saving folks tons of money. So maybe it's time for you to take a look. HHMlending.com. Dave Galloway and the team ready to help you.
Number one.
And I'd take advantage of asking those questions sooner rather than later. Well, we've got 3 arrests. 3 arrests. One didn't happen yesterday. That's probably the biggest news. The BLM organizer who got everyone, sort of all the chaos coordinated there to take over that Minneapolis church over the weekend, last weekend. She's been arrested. That crazy William Kelly guy, he's a professional agitator and protester as well. I think you call these people what they are, is domestic terrorists. I mean, he actually admitted that that's what they wanted to do, is they wanted to terrorize these people at that church. This video alone, I think, convicts him of the FACE Act.
All the people in this church, they're living real comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. So if we disturb their Sunday, oh no, nobody should have comfort right now.
That's the thing they want you to do. They want to drag you in to their insanity in the ICE debate. One person that wasn't arrested, Don Lemon. Don Lemon, a Democrat judge apparently blocked the indictment of Don Lemon over the ICE protests. And, well, again, I don't like it's protest is probably not the best word for it, but the anti-ICE domestic terrorism activism happening at that church over the weekend. I don't think this is over yet with Don Lemon. I don't think he's out of the woods just yet. I'll explain coming up.
Number 2.
But we'll have the latest from Minneapolis on the way today. For the first time today, Russia, Ukraine, and the United States are talking peace in the UAE, fresh off that trip from Davos. We got the Board of Peace. We got this whole thing shaping up. And back home domestically, as I said, okay, other than Minneapolis, things are looking really good. President Trump wrapping up that first year this past week. We'll talk a little bit about some of those things and what you can expect in the year to come. But we've seen what? The GDP is up. We've seen interest rates down. We've seen gas prices down, costs of other things. And by the way, we just got this big headline today that I think is absolutely incredible. We got the lowest murder rate in the U.S. in 125 years. Kash Patel noting over on X, it's the lowest since the 1900s. Since 1900. It's incredible. Why? More arrests? You've seen how many people they've taken off the FBI's most wanted list anyway, taking them into custody. That's another massive story that you're not hearing about, but we should probably make sure we know. And again, today, the story that everyone will be thinking about and talking about, it's cold outside. It doesn't even begin to describe it cold, really. It's an extreme cold advisory that's in effect right now. Snow showers continuing throughout today. We could see 1 to 4 additional inches, according to Matt at Storm Team 8, of snow. But the cold is the real problem, and canceling lots of places and closing businesses I wouldn't even imagine would be cold. But we're not alone. 2/3 of America on that storm watch with us, and it's not just cold. They'll see snow and ice and more of nasty stuff headed their way over the weekend. So anyway, we've got lots to discuss, and we're going to give you a chance to join in the program. If you want to do that, now is the time. 616-774-2424. It's a free-for-all Friday on West Michigan Live, Wood Radio. All right. Let's try to warm things up here a little bit with our good friend Kyle Olson. Kyle, welcome in. I know we just wrapped up that first full year of the president's second term here, and I just went through some of those issues, but I'll give you a quick moment just to kind of reflect. And I think he's doing so much at the same time. I think we kind of lose track because a lot of people are saying he's spending too much time focusing on the foreign stuff. He needs to focus on the things that are happening and all, but that's happening. And I kind of look at it like this. Hey, the other guy couldn't even walk. This one can walk and chew gum at the same time. All right. So let's take it easy here.
Well, look at what he just said in Europe. He just browbeat the people there and said America is coming first. And the way he talked to the Prime Minister of Canada, I think this is what a lot of people voted for, is that President Trump is putting America first. And so he's doing that around the world, but then also at home. And look at, You were just talking about the arrests in Minneapolis. The left has absolutely lost its mind to the point where they are defending and protecting criminal illegal aliens who are rapists, murderers, child abusers, drunk drivers, thieves, everything that you can imagine. That's what they are trying to disrupt. There was this arrest in Holland Township that was sort of very mysterious, and there was not a lot of coverage. Well, we asked Homeland Security, who was the person that was arrested? Because we saw there was a lot of, online chatter about how poorly the guy was treated and everything. Well, he was resisting arrest, first of all. But it turned out he was a criminal illegal alien from Mexico. He had previously been convicted of assaulting a police officer, driving under the influence, and other things. So that is who ICE is going after, and that's who Democrats and these insane protesters are defending.
It really is wild to watch. The latest story yesterday about this 5-year-old. Now, I've got a 5-year-old. So I hear stories like this, and I heard the vice president talk about J.D. Vance the other day. He said the same thing. He goes, I got a 5-year-old. Think about this. What a horrible story. We did what with a 5-year-old? And it turns out when you dig into the story, the case is completely separate. It's not how the media is reporting it at all. Apparently, the father of the 5-year-old fled, and then ICE didn't detain or arrest a 5-year-old. They then cared for the 5-year-old who was left by the father. What do you think happens? In fact, we've got folks on the left, Democrats on the left, who are vouching for this situation, coming out and saying, I just learned the facts on this, and I'm going to make sure I'm against misinformation, so I'm going to make sure that I get this right too. I can't remember the guy's name, but he said, I watched a lot of this on the southern border and how the CBP cared for those children who came here. Remember, obviously brought here by parents or whatever, however they found these unaccompanied minors. And he said, trust me, this child was in good hands. So it's interesting because nope, they will not correct this story. CNN, the rest of these folks, and of course you've got people like Tim Walz out there repeating the thing, and of course they're never going to come out and say, well, look, we got this wrong.
No, of course not. And the pro-open borders crowd is the propaganda is absolutely cranking. There was another story where a young child who is a U.S. citizen was deported. And there was outrage because this child, who's an American citizen, was deported. Well, but if you read the story, the mother was in the country illegally, and the child was deported with the mother. And I read this and I think to myself, so wait a minute. On the one hand, they're attacking Republicans because they supposedly want families, they're doing these family separations. So now the Republicans are keeping the Trump administration is keeping the family together, and they're being attacked for that. So it just shows, to me, it shows all of this, what we're seeing in Minneapolis and Columbus and Portland and all across the country is this doesn't have anything to do with immigrants, with migrants. This has to do with attacking the Trump administration.
Yeah.
And it's all political, and it's all about 2026. They're trying to keep the temperature high for 2026, and that's what this is all about.
Jessica, on the chat here over on Facebook, Twitter, actually on the Getter Locals YouTube, we got these all these different platforms that we chat on. Of course, she said, I'm at the point when I want the liberals deported too. Hey, I gotta bring this back though, because this is kind of important. I want people to realize, because it hit me as I was thinking about this earlier. A lot of us are frustrated. In fact, Glenn Beck came out earlier this week and called and said, we may need a change here with Pam Bondi. I gave her a year. We need to see these arrests. And one of the things that I realized today and really yesterday is the Department of Justice tried to charge Don Lemon. We actually have the video evidence and everything that would prove that, look, you could charge this guy with the face. They tried it and the judge wouldn't allow it. I want folks to take a step back and realize, and maybe you can comment on this. Right now, there's a lot of talk about blue slips and the Senate and whether or not they'd even be able to get a judge to go along with it, and what they need to do to get rid of some of these judges and some of the folks, attorneys, I guess, inside the Justice Department as well, that would need approval. Maybe there's a reason why we haven't seen some of the movement that we'd like to see in some of these cases. So if they can't even get Don Lemon charged, how do you expect them to be able to charge somebody like Fauci or any in the Biden crime family, or anybody else that really needs to be held accountable throughout the last several years?
So are you saying we don't really have a king? Is that what you're saying?
It's just incredible, isn't it?
What it says to me is it shows the power of the deep state and the bureaucracy. And you can have a new president of the United States who appoints a strong attorney general and others around him, and still the deep state the deep state has power and will use it. And so I think I can understand why there is frustration, but I can tell you things are happening. They're not always visible, but things are happening, but it shows why it's so important for the Trump administration to appoint strong America First constitutional judges and bureaucrats and everyone around, because you can have someone like the president who is casting the vision and saying this is going to be the policy, but then when you've got rotten people in the bureaucracy who are expected to implement it, well, they're not going to do that, and they're going to fight every step of the way. And so I don't think it's about making excuses. I think it's about facing the reality of the situation and then say, okay, now what are they going to do about it?
Let's bring it back to Michigan, if we can, here for just a moment. We don't have a lot of time left, but Kyle Olson with us from the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. I saw this yesterday. I think this is a great example of the crazy inside the left in the Democrat Party. Former Democrat Party chair Mark Brewer had said he believes that Michigan, the state of Michigan, should secede from the United States and fall into to Canada's domain. Now, I saw this and I laughed. Although there were going to be some people who really take this seriously, I thought to myself, I'd rather, as a state of Michigan, the reasonable, rational parts secede from the insane blue parts. There's certain part of the state that I just like to see. Maybe we could just split the mitt, and you take the Wolverine Queen and Jocelyn Benson and whoever else you want in your hellholes. And you know what? We'll stick with reason on our side in our neck of the woods. I don't know if I'm going to push for that anytime soon, but I think I'd like that a lot better than this idea of us joining Canada. In fact, I know Canada right now is looking at Alberta, is looking to get out of Canada. We may recognize them, and who knows? Maybe we could do a trade, Minnesota for Alberta, Kyle. What do you think about that?
Well, that's interesting, because Alberta is a very conservative place, and I think that the Republicans could probably use 2 more Republican senators and some Republican representatives. So that could be interesting. But I thought Mark Brewer's comment, the timing of that was interesting, because maybe one of the most stunning things that I've seen lately is when the Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, went to China and literally used the words New World Order in China.
Yeah.
And so you've got Canada that is now cozying up to China because they're not getting their way with Donald Trump like they did with Joe Biden. And now Mark Brewer wants to concede to Canada.
Yeah.
I just think this
might as well been China. It really is a great point. Anything else in the state you're keeping an eye on? Because there's a lot happening right now.
Well, we're continuing to focus on data centers. Those are not going away. Right. And solar power plants, the Whitmer administration is continuing to push those. Mm-hmm. Those are affecting local communities. Obviously, we're in 2026 now. It's an election season. So elections are heating up. We're going to be increasing our coverage of the Republican primary for governor, et cetera. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah. Kyle Olson, always a pleasure. Stay up to date. Don't just bookmark it. Definitely do that, but put your email in so you can stay up to date with these stories and more at the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. Thank you, my friend. Have a great weekend and stay warm.
You too. Thanks.
You got it. God bless. This says it best on X. Blair White says, "You're telling me they can arrest a president, but not Don Lemon?" Okay.
Make your smart speaker smarter. Stream us.
Okay, getting smarter now.
It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9. And 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, January 23rd. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. A New York-based nonprofit siphoning tax dollars meant for expectant mothers in Michigan incredibly is hiring with preference for folks who speak Arabic or Spanish. Full details at the Midwesterner.news. In other news, a leading Michigan Democrat consultant wants Michigan to ditch the U.S. to join the country's neighbor to the north. Former Michigan Democrat Party Chair Mark Brewer took to X to weigh in on a speech the Canadian Prime Minister delivered to world leaders in Davos, Switzerland. And the speech took aim at President Trump without mentioning him by name. And President Trump thinks both sides want to make a deal to end the Russia-Ukraine war, but admits it's extremely complex.
They'll make concessions. Everybody's making concessions to get it done. Europe is going to be a part of it. It's going to be a part of it. It's more for Europe than for me.
For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Privacy policy.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here with us. The VIPs over on the Freedom Fam on Locals this morning. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Mendo, Diamond Dave, Himmy, Terry, good to see you. Patriot Demon, a lifer, thank you so much. Trucker, good to see you too. Panda. Got to meet and talk with Amanda Love last night. Yeah, she's good. I like Amanda. Very nice person. Got some good ideas. I do like her. Salo Sue, good to see you. All right. I think, did I get all the way back? I don't know if I got all the way back or not here. Hey, wait a minute. Karen, Michigan Joe, Kelly, good to see you. See, I knew. I had a feeling. Try to get as many of you folks in there as possible and say hi. By the way, if you want to join the VIP, you can help support the program. You get access to all the stories that we talk about in the secret show prep that come out before the show airs. And then that way you can stay up to date with all that stuff. And actually follow along, share those stories out. Lots of good stuff. And then some of them we don't even get to throughout the day. So that's worth a look. Plus you get access to all the great things we're doing, the locals first, locals, only, all of those things that happen behind the scenes and the chat. And speaking of chats, the fireside chat coming back, and we're actually voting on this. VIPs are voting on it right now as we speak. I think you're going to be happy with what you hear with the fireside chat coming back very soon, folks, very soon. All right, let me say good morning to a couple of folks over on Rumble as well. Stand by. The Rumblers hanging out today. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thank you, Rumblers. Appreciate you. I see Beasley, Jeremiah, 1769, Gary. How cold is it today down in Florida? Oh, it's like 50 degrees. Well, it's like 50 below here. Such a time. D1P, IPV, good to see you on Facebook. The Bookers, thank you so much. Doug, Jessica, Cindy, Marilyn, Bunny, Heather, I appreciate you guys. By the way, I'm just pulling this. I'm just making fun and listen a little bit. I know 50 in Florida is cold. You know, something about living down there, your blood like thins out or whatever. It's a real thing. Hang on, folks. Back on the air. Yeah, check our bottom of the hour headlines here coming up on a free-for-all Friday. You can join the program at any time. 616-774-2424. I'm going to get to a couple more stories that we still have on the way, like lined up for you. That storm that's coming our way, what you should expect. And, of course, the folks, if you got some travel, you know, you're flying, you could get stuck this weekend. We'll explain that and what you need to be on the lookout for and more. Plus, Tim Walz directly implicated in all that Minnesota Somalian fraud, all that and more on the way after our bottom of the hour headlines on West Michigan Live. It's Wood Radio. Okay, let's see what we got. A couple things I want to make sure you see. Oh, they're trying to put one of these Muslim cities in Florida. You've seen this, like obviously Dearborn is a thing here, but in Texas they tried to build their own Muslim city. And it's really fascinating how this kind of thing comes into play. The zoning has to be discussed. Well, anyway, it's Vero Beach is where this is. And now folks are fighting back against these things because what they're looking at is Sharia law and things like that are massive concerns for a lot of these people. And they've seen the way it's gone in other places. Anyway, here's a little bit of a breakdown of this as people of Vero Beach fight.
15 minutes prior to the meeting starting, the video you're watching, we were there about 20 minutes early, and then boom, everybody came in, and there were so many people there that it overflowed into the hallway and then outside the facility because nobody wants to have an epic city, one of these large facilities where Muslims come in, they open a mosque, they open schools, they make little civic centers. They start with the nucleus and then they start to spread out and they eventually take over a town. They take over the town government. Before you know it, they're taking over a city and then you take over a state. You could look at Dearborn. You could.
I think this guy's name's David Michael Lynch. Is that DML? Looks like that might be who we're looking at here.
Look at New York City. You could look at Minnesota. This stuff was happening in Texas. People were going up in arms, and now it's happening in Florida. There's a place called Epic Estates. This guy here tried to downplay it, but keep in mind that before we started the meeting tonight, they elected the chairman of the zoning as a guy named Dr. Day, who is a Democrat. So you tell me what's going on here.
Epic Estates LLC, through several LLCs, owns several large tracts of properties west of I-95 and in Newry County. They've had 3 pre-application meetings about doing what's called an affidavit of exemption. It's a rural subdivision where they can create 10-acre lots. 2 out of those 3, there are access issues. 1 might be viable. They have not filed any formal applications with the county. There's also been rumors about a new town. None of that has come to fruition. So Epic Estates exists. They are a landowner in the county. We have had preliminary talks about this affidavit of exemptions, which again creates 10-acre lots, which is allowed in the A2.
So they had 3 pre-application meetings. Clearly, there is planning. Now, what these guys don't understand, because they haven't been in the game long enough, is that what happens is that they will take a 10-acre property and they will make it a mosque or they will make it a school. And then they'll take another 10-acre property and they'll make it into something else. And it may not all be together and next to each other. There may be properties that they don't own in between. But people will get so frustrated with the 5-time call to prayer, so frustrated with seeing people in burqas and all the different other Muslim stuff that goes on that nobody wants. Finally, they'll just sell their property. That's the plan. Squeeze them out, push them out. Do never trust a zoning committee. Never. Somebody is always making money. I remember when I was in New York, they did the same thing. The zoning department, they wound up putting an auction. They got together with local government. They put up an auction for a piece of property. They didn't want anybody to buy this property. It was a couple of houses down from me. It was 12 acres. They wound up having their special meeting. Nobody showed up. They wound up buying the property and turned it into Section 8. So trust me when I tell you, I've been around long enough. I know what the Muslim plan is. They got tons of LLCs. They look shady. He said it himself about all the LLCs. These guys are covering over because they saw the town was out tonight and they knew that people were going to hold their feet to the fire. We showed up tonight. We had a victory. Our victory was you're not going to build this crap in our backyard, and we are completely prepared. We understand we can't make this a religious thing. We'll make it a zoning thing. And you know what comes down to? These people who try to push this through, their names will be tarnished for the rest of their life. Their families will be blacklisted. They'll never see the light of day in terms of positivity ever again for the rest of their lives. And people showed up tonight and they took it. They said, oh, it's not on the agenda. My ass. It's right on the tip of your tongue. 3 pre-meetings. Oh, and there's just one parcel for 10 acres, which, you know, it could be used for something, as if you can't put a mosque on there, as if you can't put a school in there. We're not stupid. And we're going to be on you like white on rice. Congratulations to the people of Indian River County tonight for showing up in large numbers. We ain't going away.
Now this Dennis Michael Lynch. Okay, that's his name. Dennis Michael Lynch. This is the epitome. Okay, so you say, you know, what is it going to take to not just make your country great again, but maybe in some places keep it that way? Maybe what's it going to take? It's civic engagement. It's going to these meetings. It's being a part of these meetings to make sure, because if you're not, somebody else is. If you're not actively involved in what they're doing, what they're planning for your community, your backyard, your township, whatever it might be, somebody else is. Your county, at the school board level, somebody else is. If you don't have a plan, somebody else has got a plan. Just a reminder. All right, jumping back on the air here. Stick with us. You're watching the behind-the-scenes live stream. In just a moment, give us a follow, click share if you can. We really appreciate you helping us spread the word.
Health questions required. Hey, it's Glenn Beck, and you're listening to West Michigan Live with our good friend Justin Barclay. The Glenn Beck program coming up at 10 on Wood Radio.
Yeah, we've got 28 minutes Trump spent on Air Force One talking to reporters. It's probably more than Biden spent his entire 4 years just on that one plane ride alone. We've got some of that coming up. Jack Smith, Mr. Jack Smith, goes to Washington yesterday. He was in that hearing. Chip Roy gave it to him. We can get to all of that coming up here in just a moment. But first, Dow futures down about 250 points this morning. The S&P little change. Wall Street taking a breath after the 2-day rally, according to the latest headlines on CNBC. But listen, I've been telling you the best strategy as things are shifting right now. President Trump trying to get the country back on track. We've seen the GDP, interest rates coming down. We've seen all these reports, and of course, things are, I think, moving in our advantage. Don't jump off the roller coaster. I know it can feel nauseous. It can make you feel like, I don't even know what we're doing. It's hard to sleep at night, especially if you're in retirement right now. Maybe you're retired 10, 20 years down the road, or maybe you want to retire today, or you already are. Here's the deal. If you want to make sure that you are in good hands, and of course you can sleep well at night, you're not feeling nauseous on that ride. Some people put their arms up and they enjoy it, right? Some people freak out and say, no way. I get it. The folks at guardingyournestegg.com, Talon Wealth, Mike Lester and the team can help you sleep well at night. Go to guardingyournestegg.com, guardingyournestegg.com. And make sure that you check out and ask those questions. Give them a call, 616-661-1000. These are the things that are on your mind. Get the counsel and of course, and weigh it. Of course, make those best decisions for you and your family
But I'm certain you'll be glad that you do when you go and do that today. Don't waste whatever you do. Don't waste time. Do not, don't wait till it's too late. But get it done, especially on a snowy, cold day like today. But you may not, everything else is closed anyway. You may not have anything else going on. All right, Chip Roy, giving it to him. This was yesterday, in fact.
Thanks, Chairman. Mr. Smith, how many members of Congress or the Senate did you subpoena phone toll records?
Goes to Washington. Jack Smith really got it.
As I sit here right now, I do not recall a specific number.
Is this the complete list right here? Well, let me ask.
Chip Roy's asking me, how many of these Congress men and women did you tap? How many members of Congress did you tap their phones, get their phone records? Jack Smith is supposed to be investigating President Trump. I mean, the kind of things that were happening under Biden are criminal. He's getting his day inside the hearing right now, but I'd like to see this guy in orange jumpsuit as well.
See this. Am I on this list? Did you target my records and subpoena my phone toll records?
He did, along with other senators. There is a long list of them on there, including Rick Scott, Mike Lee, Senator Kennedy from Louisiana, Ron Johnson in Wisconsin, Josh Hawley, Bill Hagerty, Lindsey Graham, Marsha Blackburn in Tennessee, Louis Gohmert down in Texas as a rep congressman, Jim Jordan, who's leading that panel, which isn't that sweet justice, and Senator Tommy Tuberville down in Alabama.
My understanding is your records were subpoenaed by prosecutors before I became special counsel.
Well, staff would put this up on the screen.
You hear that? It wasn't me defense.
I'm thankful for the great staff who discovered the email where I learned for the first time a few weeks ago that my phone records were indeed targeted. We called AT&T and we've learned that they were given to the Department of Justice, as this email indicates, because I have been in communication with Scott Perry, one of my colleagues here in Congress, who literally had his phone taken from him in front of his family. And of course, we've already talked about in this document, it talks about you could be in violation of the privilege by even obtaining and possessing this information if the member objected to the disclosure. This happened 4 years ago in May of 2022, and I couldn't object because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know until about 3 weeks ago. My question here is, was there any limits to your investigation or the investigation that preceded you, Mr. Smith? Because as egregious as a violation of separation of powers this is, as an egregious and abuse of power it is, it's far more concerning you are clearly targeting American citizens for merely being conservative or supporting the president. We've got memos that we've already been talking about in this hearing from April 2022 that preceded you that establish and open the investigations, one of which has
if they're willing to go after congressmen and women, if they're willing to go after those folks there, you think they have a problem going after those Christians, going after Catholics, because they wanted to do the traditional mass. They wanted the Latin mass. You think they had a problem going after mom and dads who just wanted their kids to be safe at school and they'd go to school board meetings? Do you think they have a problem going after anything? No. Everyone was fair game under the Biden regime. That's the case. That's the point Chip Roy's making here.
Attorney General Merrick Garland's signature on it. And the focus was the electors. Now, that was 6 months before you were appointed. You testified earlier, you met and interviewed Merrick Garland and Deputy AG Lisa Monaco. And you briefed the AG and deputy multiple times. Did you brief them on the electors and the prosecution of their supposed crimes?
Did I? I'm sorry.
Did you brief them on the electors and their supposed crimes?
I don't recall specific conversations, but I'm sure that in the course of briefing them, I discussed.
Wasn't that the purpose of the entire investigation as it was set out? Because putting aside that in 1960, as we already talked about, my friend Mr. Tiffany, that Hawaii put forward an alternate slate of electors, the investigation pivoted to President Trump and, frankly, anybody who knew him. Do you know who Cleta Mitchell is?
Yes, I do.
She's an election lawyer that was involved in filing an election contest on behalf of
Cleta on the program several times.
President Trump in Georgia in December of 2020. A 64-page complaint with over 1,100 pages of exhibits, witness affidavits, and expert witness reports documenting thousands of votes cast in violation of Georgia law, but which were nevertheless included in the vote totals. Now, notwithstanding the disposition of the cases that was filed, is that a criminal act? filing an election contest on behalf of a candidate for office, a client. Is that a criminal act, yes or no?
No, in fact, we
So
stated...
why did you deem it appropriate to monitor Cleta Mitchell's long-distance phone records in 2023, 2.5 years after the election contest was filed and after the presidential electors were certified? What about Jenna Ellis? What about Sidney Powell? What about Bill Sepien? What crime did you suspect had been committed by them that would warrant monitoring their phone records 2.5 years after the 2020 election was certified?
With respect to Sidney Powell, she is one of the co-conspirators alleged in the indictment. I don't know what you mean by monitoring, sir, if you're talking...
Well, there were some 400 plus Republican conservative groups and leaders who were targeted by your investigation. Their financial records were obtained, records of the RNC, the Trump campaign, Cleta Mitchell, the Conservative Partnership Institute, the America First Policy Institute, NRCC, NRSC, PACs, conservative groups, people all across the country, citizens, because we hear a lot about members of Congress. And we should, because of separation of powers and the egregious abuse of power. But what we're not talking about enough, in my opinion, are the American citizens that have been targeted.
That's right.
Because frankly, are there any limits to the power of a special prosecutor or special counsel? So much so in your abuse of power that in the summer of 2024, the indictment involving classified documents was dismissed after determining your appointment violated the Appointments Clause of the Constitution, but you continued to sign your name on court filings until the time you resigned from office in January of 2025. A federal judge just recently stated a prosecutor who continues to sign his name in court filings after a disqualification order should face
he's a stone cold criminal.
Disciplinary action or disbarment.
Yeah.
I yield back.
Yeah, this fantastic moment. In fact, there were a couple of them during the hearing yesterday. One that largely went underreported, silent, because there's just so much happening right now. I just wanted to make sure that you heard it, though. As the find out era continues, and maybe not necessarily the level of accountability that some people want, but we're getting there. And patience, a fruit of the spirit. Boy, we got to work on that one, don't we? Myself included, in a lot of it. But hang in there, folks. More coming up after this. In fact, we jump back on the phones. Word out of folks fighting here in our own backyard, those data centers next. Hang on.
Tackling the hot button issues with style. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, January 23rd. I'm Robin Hoffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. A New York-based nonprofit siphoning tax dollars meant for expectant mothers in Michigan, incredibly, is hiring with preference for folks who speak Arabic or Spanish. Full details at the Midwesterner.news. In other news, a leading Michigan Democrat consultant wants Michigan to ditch the U.S. to join the country's neighbor to the north. Former Michigan Democrat Party Chair Mark Brewer took to X to weigh in on a speech the Canadian Prime Minister delivered to world leaders in Davos, Switzerland. The speech took aim at President Trump without mentioning him by name. And President Trump thinks both sides want to make a deal to end the Russia-Ukraine war, but admits it's extremely complex.
They'll make concessions. Everybody's making concessions to get it done. Europe is going to be a part of it. It's going to be a part of it. It's more for Europe than for me.
For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
We're definitely...
All right, folks, going to jump back on the air here shortly. After the show after the show, the crazies are at it again in Target. We showed you. Was it yesterday where they were buying salt and then returning it? And Target doesn't have the cojones to tell these people not to come back. They don't have the cojones to call the police and have them kicked out because it's Target. We've made a little bit of progress there with them, but not enough. Not enough. Don Lemon is actively daring them to come and arrest him. And what's interesting is I think I saw one of the folks, I think it was Harmeet Dillon, would be in charge of some of that. Retweet his post on X and say, okay.
Same thing happened to that guy. William Kelly is his name. That weirdo. Most of these folks are deranged. They are insane. They literally have mental health issues. And then you also wonder how much of a spiritual thing it might be too. But those folks are finding out in a big way today. One of the folks that was arrested yesterday was not just a BLM organizer, but a member of the school board in St. Paul. Incredible. Hang on, back on the air, folks. Free for All Friday in West Michigan Live, powered by the Good Feed Store and the good people there ready to help you get going. Whether you made that New Year's resolution and just want to get back on your feet, maybe add a few more steps to your day. Yeah, everybody's trying to track their steps, get their 10,000 steps. I'm telling you, I did that for a while, and the only way I was able to really get that habit instilled was because of the people at the Good Feed Store. Whether you got a New Year's resolution to be more active or just do the things that you love again, the Good Feed Store can help you. Stop in on 28th Street right in front of Costco or in Westnedge on Portage in front of Kohl's and ask them how they can help you get back on track at the Good Feed Store. Back to feeling good again, feeling that comfort of the everyday living. And it's just, sometimes you just don't know how good you can feel, because you just get used to it. You just get used to feeling so bad. That's how they wear you down over time. Go to the Good Feed Store and make sure that you're feeling better today. Speaking of wearing you down, that's how you get worn down in the fight in everyday life. I mean, you look at the things of like a frog in a boiling pot of water. They just gradually turn the temperature up on you and suddenly don't realize you got things going on in your backyard that you would have never dreamed of. They're fighting it right now. In fact, in Cedar Springs, John is on the phone line with us right now, who is, it looks like, wanted to discuss this. You guys is there a data center that they're trying to put in your backyard? Is that the story from what I understand?
We had heard something about that, and I don't want to rub any sand in the wound here, but I'm speaking to you from southern Florida. But I'm going to get my just dues when I come back home to frozen Cedar Tucky wasteland.
Don't rub it in right now, John, because it's going to be a rude awakening when you come back.
Oh my goodness! And it was not because of my time. It was an act of God that this happened.
Yeah.
I've been looking in this. Our rates just keep going up,
mm-hmm.
and DTE and Consumers Energy is all on board about bringing in these data centers.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering, how do they keep raising the rates? I looked into it a little bit, and it's the Public Service Commission. And that's 3 people that are appointed by the governor. And supposedly they can't be more than 2 from one party. One woman that was just got another 6-year term. She was the former chief of staff for the lieutenant governor. I think his name was Gilchrist. Well, and then I'm wondering, how do they determine how you're going to raise the rates? And it's based on infrastructure and, just the cost of doing business. Well, if they're building windmill farms that don't turn, they're building solar arrays that, good luck on getting any solar energy from them right now.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to keep raising the rates, and to believe, like you say, this whole thing is based on unicorn farts, and their mission is to get the utility rates to come down, and I don't see that happening.
The way
what are we going to be able to?
Yeah.
What can we do about that?
The way it could happen, I'll give you kind of an example. But first and foremost, you're absolutely right. These are unelected officials that sit on these boards that say yes, the rates can go up,
mm-hmm.
And so they don't have any accountability. Largely, they're like just cronies that the governor puts in place. And the reason, and in fact, Trump talked about this last week. President talked about it last week, and the reason people are seeing actual rates go down in other parts of the country right now, but the reason why you're seeing your rates go up is because you're in a blue state. You and I are in a blue state. So anybody in blue states are going to see it. Why? Because they spent like a decade nearly, or maybe more, trying to push this green pipe dream, the wind, solar, and the unicorn farts.
How dare you?
And that is the investment
that they put into this energy that, again, didn't and wouldn't, it just wouldn't produce the way it should. Now, we always said this. Look, we're going to have blackouts. We're going to have brownouts. We were talking about this before we got into this data center issue. Before we got into anybody ever everybody plugging their Teslas in, we just didn't have enough energy. So that was the issue. At the same time, they're unplugging these coal plants, and the Trump administration had to fight to keep the one on over here on the lakeshore. And they got the nuclear plant back up and running as well. So the answer is this. And John, it is a great answer. First of all, you got to get all these people, the cronies and all the rest of them, you got to pull their power. You got to get them out of those positions. We got to make sure that we have a full accountability in these places. The other thing is, and Tom Leonard talked about it earlier this week, he's a candidate for governor as a Republican. He's mentioned about having more competition in the energy field for us. So we don't just have, we've got two, but literally, where you are, you probably only have one that you can get, and it's consumers or DTE. And then in some places they have co-ops.
For electrical, DTE for gas.
And on the other side of the state, it's vice versa. But here's the point. There's no competition. So there's no reason for them to lower rates. The other piece on the data centers is President Trump has said this. He said, I want these people to make their own power, whether that be modular nuclear, which a lot of them are looking at. Some of them are looking at natural gas. I know Facebook Meta's got one down in I think in Louisiana that they're doing that with. But they need to make their own energy. And Howard Lutnick, one of the advisors to the president, said this. If they do that, if they produce their own energy, there's a chance, as we get the grid back on track as well here for ourselves, there's a chance as they're producing energy, they'll produce so much that they'll actually send it back into the grid so that we'll have that energy to use as well, and that'll drive costs down. Now, this is a multi-pronged issue, and all of these specific things need to be addressed. Along with the data center issue comes the question about whether or not people actually want them in their own backyard. In fact, somebody from Cedar Springs reached out. That's who I thought you were when I saw John on the phone, or somebody reached out this week and said, hey, can I call in and talk about this? I was more than willing. If you see these in your area, chances are you'll find out them before I do. So tell us about them, and we'll give you a chance to make your voice. I hope that answered your question. I got to run here, but thank you so much, John. Appreciate your call.
Very good. When I get back to Cedar Talkie, I'm going to research this a little bit more, and I'll get back to you.
You got it, brother. Enjoy your time down there in South Florida, the Southern Command. Woo, man! I could wish I was down there right now with him. No such. Although they're getting pretty cold temperatures, I don't know if they're going to have iguanas falling from the trees down there yet. We should have asked him about that. But they're going to have some pretty cold temperatures. 28 minutes, folks. By the way, I got more coming up in the after show today. It's the show after the show. Never enough time in the fastest hour on radio. We're flying right through it right now. But 28 minutes is what we know took place in this full Q&A session on board Air Force One with the president. He talked about everything from the Golden Dome, the Greenland deal, a message for Iran. Trump's still talking about capping credit card rates. How was the trip? This is probably the funniest part. This is the trip to Davos he's talking about. Again, he did 28, more than any other. I would say that's more than Biden ever did probably in his full 4 years.
I think the trip was great. We had a lot of good response, even from the fake news. And I think Greenland's going very well. It's in negotiation. And I think what we did today was great. It was great. That's going to be a great board. That'll be a board, I think, like no other.
About the Board of Peace.
Right? That's a board like no other. A lot of people joining. We just went out with the letters. A lot of people are joining. I think that.
So, despite the fake news, even a great trip, he said, even though I guess it's full 28 minutes, you want to see that. I put that and all the other stories we talk about today on the Stack. That's up at justinbarkley.com, where you can follow along. The Stack at justinbarkley.com. The show after the show rolling next. You can find the iHeartRadio app wherever you download your podcasts. As I mentioned, still lots to cover, and yet we barely got a chance to scratch the surface on some of this stuff. General Motors, by the way, here's some big automotive Michigan news. Some good news we'll talk about on the after show. Moving production of the Buick SUVs back to the United States from China. Yeah, another big story, one I guarantee you won't hear anywhere else. All that and more. Stick with us for all the weather updates through the weekend as we've got those very extreme cold temperatures, the extreme cold advisory in effect. More snow on the way this weekend, but the big story is the cold. Lots of things canceled, too. Lots of businesses closed. So check before you go at woodradio.com. Glenn Beck program is next. I'm Justin Barkley. Make it a great day. God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, power, and glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
From the retirement experts at Matson Financial Studio.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed human.
All right, folks, stand by. The after show about ready to proceed. Just need to click a couple of buttons and we're rolling. Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose. Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barkley. The after show, the show after the show, never enough time to do everything that we need to do. That's why we created the after show just for you, because you asked for it, you demanded it, we give the people what they want. Imagine that. Giving the people what they want. The latest. Of course, the stories that you won't hear anywhere else. We got big stories. That Maha update from earlier this week with Maha Missy comes out. In fact, I think that's going to drop tomorrow morning. If you haven't watched it yet, we'll get the latest looking back on the first year of Making America Healthy Again, RFK, and all the things that they've done. But the bigger story is what they want to do next year. You will not want to miss this conversation that comes next. Thanks to the folks at My Pure Health Solutions. Don't forget, healthwithjustin.com. I start my next phase with my wife and some other folks are joining us in that Make America Healthy Again mission. It starts with us, you and me, one at a time. And you're not going to believe how good you're actually going to feel when you get all through done this. I'm telling you, it's incredible. Effectively, you don't have that, get all the way through it. You'll start feeling better in just days. And then eventually you will just be amazed. Why didn't I do this sooner? Healthwithjustin.com. Call Missy and the crew at 269-964-4044. That's 269-964-4044. Or go to healthwithjustin.com to find out how you can make America healthy again, starting with you, each and every one of us. By the way, you matter. We need you. We need you in this fight. Speaking of the fight, Dan Bongino bringing it last night on Hannity.
Do you dipwads even read your own headlines? Are you that stupid? These are these media morons. People who've never spent a day wearing a badge, never kicked in a door, never arrested some child predator or some bank robber or some gang member. These morons don't know anything about the safety status of the country. Do you dipwads even read?
Telling you right now, when he comes back, all bets are going to be off. He's going to be raring. And it's going to be like another level. Because he's going to be able to talk about things. Some of the things he probably won't be able to talk about, but from a fully kind of 30,000 foot view, I think you're going to hear some stuff. And the passion behind it that's incredible. Speaking of incredible, you want to talk about crazy? The level of insanity on some of this ICE stuff is reaching new levels. In Minneapolis, a mom takes her 18-month-old baby outside to do an ICE patrol in below freezing weather because she thinks her, quote, babies aren't more important than the children of random strangers. These people are broken. the news, the media, the Democrats, the left, they've done this to these. And I think where we noticed it most was 2020. It broke people's brains. Social media has made it more clear than ever before. They've had their brains broken. I can't imagine this. And, you know, I want to say these kids ought to be taken away because I think that's a very big line to cross, and I would have to see lots of evidence of neglect. I don't even necessarily think taking the baby out in the cold weather is neglect. In some cultures, they do lots more of babies and kids in cold weather. So I don't really think that's a problem. But I do think the mindset of saying that these so-called made up, by the way, they're all fantastical. They're all fantasies of these other kids that they believe that are out there. They matter more than their kids. That's a little weird. Some of this is I don't want to get a copyright strike. She's getting geared up, and then she's got the text on the screen. She's gearing up to go do ice patrol at my neighborhood school in sub-zero weather. Looks like when you've got an 18-month-old on your back because my babies aren't more important than anybody else's. No wonder they don't get America first. No wonder they don't understand. Of course your babies are more... Your babies are not going to be more important to anyone else than they are to you. That's just human nature. That's the way God wired us. We are going to care about our kids first and foremost. And by the way, that's sort of the hierarchy of the authority. When I say, you know, faith, family, freedom, that is God. That is your family next. You know, and then everything else, your country comes after that. In that argument, and it's like the rings, like the inner rings of a tree. Like the most center should be God. Then around that, obviously, your family, and then after that becomes your country, you know, or your neighborhood, right? Your extended family, then your neighborhood, then you know, those are the things that matter. That's the right order for it. That's the word I'm looking for. Order. Incidentally, that's my word this year, order. These people are out of order. They've been disordered. They've been disorderly. By the way, I think that's a clear case to make for the demonic influence here, is because demonic always seems to be counterfeit. It always seems to be inverted. The order's messed up. So here you go. She's so proud of making her. Now, here's the other thing. We don't even know if this woman took her little baby outside. We don't even know if she did that or if she just made a video. Because that's how crazy these people are now. It's a virtue signaling. I could just make a video for social media. Now, that probably did take the kid out. And lots of people do. But it's stuff like this that's virtue signaling that has little to no effect on the entire scenario, on any of it at all. I mean, it's just so crazy. My wife was asking me about this. She said, what happened again with the church? What happened, Don? Why did they do that? See, normal, rational, sane people, and by the way, these people that don't pay attention to the media all the time aren't always paying attention. Now, I do this for a living. My wife still doesn't. I mean, she catches a lot of it. But she doesn't catch it all. And she's like, so why did they do this? I go, honey, it doesn't make sense. I can try to explain it to you, but I can't make this make sense because it doesn't. It doesn't make sense why they would go to that church, other than in their warped minds, they feel like, and this is the Marxist ideology. They have to spread the pain out for everyone else. Even if it's perceived pain, they've got to make everyone feel the pain. Because that's justice for them. Making people feel pain. That's what it's all about. Just so you know. That's why these people were in Target the other day buying salt in Target. First of all, they were singing in the aisles in Target. They went into the Target store because they can't go out in the cold, and it's too cold in Minnesota right now. So they decide to go into the Target and then like have a sit-in on the floor, and it's just annoying. You're not attracting anybody to your cause. You're not waking anybody up. It's terrorism. The same with the church. You think those people in the church had their minds changed by any of this? No. So then yesterday we played the video of these people going, the crazy cat ladies, and they're buying their salt, and then they're going to return it. And each of them got a cart or two and lined up to the store. Now, like I said, Target could put a stop to this. They could put an end to it right away and just tell these people don't come back. They could call police, but they won't. They won't do that. They don't have the cojones to do it. Now, watch what this woman does. This woman, she brings her cart to the register. She fills it up with stuff, brings it to the register, and then I guess the new thing is just to leave it there and say, I don't want any of this stuff.
Hi.
By the way, they're filming. And here's the other thing. Then they put this stuff on social media. And these kids, that's essentially, I worked at Target. Not everybody works at Target as a kid, but I did when I was a kid. For like seasonal time. And you're just, trying to make a little money. It's just a job, whether you're trying to pay for school or, pay for your car, your insurance, or whatever it might be. Or some of them might have family, and actually this is their job. Who knows? But a lot of these people are making minimum wage. And so the crazy cat ladies decide that they're going to come harass the kids making minimum wage to get justice for ICE. None of this makes any sense.
No, because we're not actually going to buy all of this. We just loaded up our carts. We're protesting the Trump administration.
We're protesting the Trump administration. Look at the look on the girl's face. She's like, you have got to be the dumbest person I've met today.
Attention, Target shoppers.
And now she's going to yell inside the store. If you see this happening, what do you think? You go, that woman's crazy. That person's nuts.
2 o'clock now. We're going to walk out as part of the Free America walkout.
We're going to walk out. This isn't an airport, lady. There's no need to announce your departure. Matter of fact, you're already gone. You done lost it years ago.
We walk away from fascism. We walk towards a free America. We fight for a future that belongs to all of us.
Why don't you walk towards stopping flapping those gums and get on out? I mean,
everybody in, nobody out. Everybody should walk out, including the workers.
Including the workers. What? Look at the look on the girl's face. Look at the girl who's, again, look at it. She's like, what? You're doing what? Make it make sense. None of this makes sense. None of it. Again, I'm telling you, half of this I'm laughing at because it's so hidden. I don't know what to tell you. On the other hand, I see these people have massive, massive issues, and we got to pray for them. Here are the mugshots of the people involved in that church storming the other day. Again, these are more of those same people. You look at this guy. Ain't just got a screw loose. I mean, like the whole set is gone. And this woman is a school board member. How does that happen? How does any of that happen? And again, that guy I just showed you, he was on social media like daring Pam Bondi to come get him. And the only thing I can imagine is because now we like what we do now is we reward people for their insane behavior. Now we reward people, with like GoFundMe, fundraising accounts and things like that, $50,000 here, $100,000. That guy who yelled and heckled Trump at Ford, I think he got $1 million. I think they raised like $1 million for the guy.
What? Dave, you know Nakima personally? Oh, I can't wait to hear that story. That bearded dude is Jack Smith's twin? That's hilarious. Why haven't the rest of them that stormed the church been arrested yet? I think they will be. I think they're probably identifying and putting all those people together. They had to go with the first, most visible four. I say four because Don Lemon was amongst that list. They wouldn't allow him to be charged. A Democrat leftist judge said no. Best comment I saw so far this morning, Blair White, I think, is who posted this on X, said, so let me get this straight. They can charge a president, but not Don Lemon. They can arrest a president, but not Don Lemon. Make that make sense.
Look, I stand proud and I stand tall. This is not a victory lap for me because it's not over.
He's doubling down here. This guy's going to end up in handcuffs. Matter of fact, that's probably his plan here. I'm going to tell you, like, the way these people think, just the way that Don probably thinks here, is that he's going to be charged. He'll be arrested. He'll be able to sit out while he's arrested, talk about all of this. His attorneys behind the scenes will work out some sort of negotiation for a settlement, right? Like, they usually do that when it comes to these federal cases because they're so good. If you don't take the plea deal, you're going to jail for years. I don't know that they'll offer one. I think we're in a new era here. I don't know that they'll offer one. I think they'd rather take him, and he may take that. He may take the money, may gamble on this, and I'll tell you why. Because he probably doesn't think that he's going to look. They weren't able to charge him because the judge said no. So if they get a jury, they got to be able to convict this guy in a jury. Maybe the jury will say no. Depends on where they do it. If they run this thing down in Florida, they're all going to jail for decades. They run it in D.C. I think they might send them out with the flying salute and say well done. I mean that's the way they think in D.C. But Don will think, well, I'll probably get this. This will get me a new job. I'll write a book. There'll be a movie about me. That's the way they think. They're narcissistic. They're not connected to reality at all whatsoever.
Going to try again, and they're going to try again. And guess what? Here I am. Keep trying. That's not going to stop me from being a journalist. You're not going to diminish my voice. Go ahead, make me into the new Jimmy Kimmel if you want.
You're not a journalist. You're an activist, and even more so, you're a clown. You don't walk into a church and do what you did. You knew what you were doing. You planned it, premeditated it. They've got all the evidence. Hopefully, maybe you could do the new show at the new prison that you're going to be locked up at. That'd be great.
Because I'm not going anywhere, and I'm going to believe the same things, whether you want to, whatever. None of this is about justice.
We don't care what you believe. We don't care about who you are. We care about you can't go into a church and do what you did. The behavior is what we care about more than anything else. And it's time to restore decency. It's time to restore law and order in this country. And we're seeing that happen right now. It's the find out era, folks.
This is about power, and it's about people who are incompetent. Look, I stand proud and I stand tall. All
right, Donnie. This guy said the same thing, by the way. This guy, he sort of taunted Pam Bondi to come get him. Do you remember seeing that? I think it was out yesterday. Now, this is the most hilarious thing I've seen in a long time, too. It's just me refreshing my screen in hopes of seeing Don Lemon arrested pop up. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I seriously was doing that yesterday. Oh, did they get him yet? Did they get him? Did they get him yet? Well, let me see. Let me check back. Did they get him?
I think they will. Now, about the guy who refused to charge him, this is the judge. His name, well, he's a magistrate, federal magistrate judge, Douglas Micco. They're saying, according to Jack Posobiec on X, his wife works for Keith Ellison as an assistant to the attorney general. So here he is. And there's her bio. Piece of work. By the way, you see this as their activity on LinkedIn. The wife of that judge loves this post from Liz Kramer, Solicitor General at the office. I'm proud to help A.G. Ellison, the mayors, protect the equal sovereignty of Minnesota and the safety of our residents by suing us, yada, yada, yada. Conflict of interest? You think maybe there's a conflict of interest for this guy? Yeah, that's not going to end well either. Trust me. It's a new era. Trump said when he was in Davos, he said, I'm coming back. And it's on. I'm going to clear up this Minnesota garbage. It's on. Amy Bach, who is the mastermind behind the $250 million Somali fraud scandal, speaking of Minnesota, claiming that state officials, top state officials, including Governor Walz and AG Keith Ellison, are complicit. In other words, they knew about all of this. The fraud did nothing to stop it. In fact, they were probably meeting with these people. I think I've seen other reports for donations.
Ringleader of the $250 million Minnesota welfare fraud scandal, telling Fox News she believes the state leaders knew taxpayer money was being stolen and did nothing to stop it.
But I guess, how high up do you think the message went that there was fraud? Like, do you think it made its way to the governor's office?
I struggle to believe it didn't. I have to believe that the governor's office and Keith Ellison's office were aware of this. They've said they were involved in helping the FBI. They've said they were made aware.
A spokesperson for the state attorney general responding, saying in part, quote, treating the words of a convicted fraudster like Amy Bach as though they have any credibility is shocking. She is a liar, fraudster, and manipulator of the highest order who has never acknowledged or accepted her guilt.
He's a fraudster too. He just hasn't been convicted yet. He hasn't been convicted yet. That's just all there is to it, folks. President Trump and the DHS just launched an online database now. Americans in the fake news can finally get the receipts on all these heinous illegal aliens being rounded up. You can see them online and exactly what they're being rounded up for. So there's no more there's no more disputing this. There's no more questioning it. It's the worst of the worst. And of course, as you can see, literally is the worst of the worst of some of these crimes. Convicted of sexual assault, homicide, assault, aggravated assault with a gun, homicide, stolen property, amphetamine selling, homicide, burglary, sexual abuse of a minor. This guy right here. A sexual assault, rape, fraud, receiving stolen property. That's just Minnesota alone, by the way. The Homeland Security office has this website up right now where you can go look at these and go do your research. When people want to argue with you online about this stuff, go do your research, and you'll be able to share. You'll be able to show people what's going on. You'll be able to show. This will be a nice little tool. How about this? It's almost prophetic. A bald eagle spotted posing for a Minnesota traffic camera. Is it foreshadowing of what's to come? Is Minnesota about to be liberated? Nick Sorter posted over on X. Look at that. Boy, that is something. Beautiful. I love it. God bless that eagle and God bless America. Yes. Land of the free, home of the brave. Much more coming this weekend, folks. We're going to make sure we stay up to date on the stories that are happening, and we'll make sure we have them when we come back for you on Monday. But stay with us. because if we get breaking news like a Don Lemon gets arrested and charged, we want you to hear it first. We'll make sure we update you. That's right. All the stories from today and more that I didn't even have a chance to get to over at justinbarclay.com, up in the stack right now, ready to go. Well, they're expecting lots of snow and ice throughout the middle of the country and the south. And if the power goes out, and it could, it's going to leave a lot of folks in some very vulnerable situations. They've got all sorts of resources for you, folks in My Patriot Supply. Go to preparewithjustin.com so that you can sleep well at night and have that peace of mind to know, look, if the power goes out, I'm ready. Preparewithjustin.com. Do it today. God bless.
I'm Dr. Kirk Elliott, founder of Kirk Elliott Precious Metals. After being in the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen, but please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.